It is not one for celebration. It is one for reflection on how a party that has always prided itself...
The only black hole is the one that he is digging. Yeah. He's shown absolutely no regret, but everybody knows the Chancellor has made a mistake.
The room went quiet, not because of reverence or attention, but because nobody expected what was about to happen. Sir Keir Starmer, the Labour Party leader hailed by many as the adult in the room, the clean-up act after years of political chaos, stood frozen on live television as a former ally turned whistleblower dropped what would soon be called the most damning political bombshell in modern British history.
When I became leader, I said I would turn Labour around and give it back to the British people.
It happened during what was supposed to be a routine town hall Q&A televised across multiple platforms as part of Starmer's Restoring Trust campaign. The audience, hand-picked yet seemingly diverse, included a few Labour insiders, a few long-time activists, and supposedly everyday citizens. But one man, introduced as a former party strategist, stood up, microphone shaking slightly in his hand, and began with an unassuming question. "Sir Keir," he said, "would you say transparency and honesty have guided your leadership from the start?"
Those who seek to blame others or downplay what happened in our party are themselves part of the problem.
Starmer nodded and gave a polished answer, something about restoring integrity and turning the page from Labour's rocky past. The man smiled grimly. "That's odd," he continued, "because I have here a document, signed and time-stamped, showing that your office approved the siphoning of nearly £2 million in public funds into a shadow lobbying firm you denied even existed." Gasps echoed. Cameras zoomed in. Starmer's face shifted, not dramatically, not theatrically, but enough to notice. A twitch in the jaw, a narrowing of the eyes, a moment's hesitation. Then came the deflection. "I won't dignify baseless accusations," he said, clearly rattled. But the damage had begun. The whistleblower, now emboldened, didn't stop. He read aloud names, dates, transactions. He claimed senior Labour officials, acting under Starmer's approval, had funneled money through shell organisations designed to boost their own media visibility while maintaining plausible deniability. It wasn't just unethical. Depending on the paper trail, it might have been illegal. Social media exploded within seconds. Clips of the confrontation were uploaded and clipped by accounts across the spectrum. The hashtag #StarmerScam trended #1 on X within 30 minutes. Within an hour, prominent figures from across the aisle were weighing in. Nigel Farage called it the smoking gun that confirms everything I've warned about Labour's deep state. Even members within Labour's left wing, long at odds with Starmer's centrist reign, began calling for an internal probe. But this wasn't just a social media firestorm. Journalists began digging, and fast. A Guardian reporter, long trusted by Labour sources, confirmed that documents matching the whistleblower's claims had already been quietly circulating among political watchdogs. The BBC, initially hesitant to touch the story, soon released a special report citing serious financial discrepancies linked to Starmer's campaign spending from the previous year. A Channel 4 investigation, already in production about parliamentary lobbying culture, pivoted entirely to focus on what one producer privately called Keir's ticking time bomb.
We've got more investment in the last 20 years, an absolute record. Wages are up higher than prices.
The Labour Party communications team scrambled. Late-night emails were sent. Spokespeople issued vague statements about mischaracterized data and politically motivated fabrications. But with every passing hour, more cracks formed. A former campaign staffer anonymously confirmed that there had been unusual activity regarding outside consultancy contracts, and yes, some of them were tied directly to Starmer's inner circle. Still, Starmer held firm in public.
It's taken many, many months of hard work and humility to get here. It's meant rebuilding trust.
At an emergency press conference, he denied everything. "I have never and will never authorize the misuse of public funds. These accusations are a smear, nothing more," he said, eyes scanning the room like a man searching for a lifeboat. But something about his tone didn't land. It wasn't conviction, it was damage control. The next day brought another twist. A leaked email, allegedly from Starmer himself, surfaced showing direct correspondence with a media consultant discussing plausible funding routes for visibility initiatives.
It is not one for celebration. It is one for reflection on how a party that has always prided itself.
While Starmer's office insisted the quote was taken out of context, the email only fueled the fire. Commentators began comparing it to past political scandals, calling it Starmer's expenses moment. The comparison to the 2009 parliamentary expenses scandal wasn't flattering. Back then, careers had ended, reputations were torched, and this was on live TV with receipts. Public opinion began to shift. Polls showed Labour's lead over the Tories slipping by 5 points in just 2 days. Conservative MPs, sensing blood in the water, called for a parliamentary inquiry. Rishi Sunak, usually cautious in tone, took the rare step of addressing the issue directly. "The public deserves transparency. If Sir Keir has nothing to hide, he should welcome a full investigation," Sunak said, trying to reclaim moral high ground. Meanwhile, the whistleblower went public. His name, Daniel Elms, a mid-level strategist once tasked with coordinating media ops during Starmer's early leadership bid. In a primetime interview, Elms claimed he had gone to internal ethics officers with his concerns a year ago, only to be told to shut it down and remember who signs your paycheck. His credibility wasn't easy to dismiss. He produced phone records, drafts of reports, and meeting notes. That same night, Jimmy Carr, hosting a panel show, quipped, "Starmer wanted to restore trust. Turns out he restored the trust fund of his media cronies." The line got laughs, but the truth behind it stung.
The world is changing fast, and we need an entirely new approach to our economy and our energy security.
The British public, already fatigued by years of political scandal, wasn't in the mood for excuses. Newspapers from the Daily Mail to the Independent ran front-page spreads. The scandal was too big to ignore. Within Parliament, dissent grew. Labour MPs from safe seats began issuing carefully worded statements urging clarity and accountability. Behind the scenes, whispers of a leadership challenge began circulating. Names like Angela Rayner and Wes Streeting surfaced in hushed tones. The unity Starmer had painstakingly cultivated was fracturing. As more documents emerged, including invoices and internal memos, it became clear that, even if Starmer hadn't directly embezzled funds, he had presided over a system that blurred ethical lines beyond recognition. And in politics, perception is often fatal.
Having accepted the Commission's report, the onus was then on us to begin to right the wrongs of the past.
The only black hole is the one that he is digging. He's shown absolutely no regret, but everybody knows the Chancellor has made a mistake.
By the end of the week, Starmer gave another address. No teleprompter, no pre-written remarks, just a man standing in front of reporters trying to salvage what was left.
I said from the start that we would be judged not on our own terms, but by the return of those who felt they could no longer support us.
"I am committed to full cooperation," he said. "If mistakes were made under my leadership, I take full responsibility, but I will not allow this to derail our mission for a better Britain." The line might have worked in another time, but not now. Not after the receipts, not after the exposure, and not when the whole nation had watched it unfold live, raw and undeniable.